Here's a tool preference tip for you in Photoshop, because it's actually one of those things that I always make sure I do whenever I sit down on a new computer, or if I have to reinstall Photoshop for some reason, or I go to work on somebody else's computer. It really is one of the first things I do, and that it deals with the eyedropper tool here. Because often you'll find yourself sampling points from your photo. Whether you're a designer or a photographer, you'll be sampling colors from photos or from images. Well, what happens is when you select the eyedropper, by default, the sample size is set to point sample. You can see it right up here. Let me show you why I believe that that's bad. If we go select my magnifying glass here, and I zoom in, way in on the image here, take a look at what can happen here when I select. Let's just look at some of the skin tones as I pan through the image here. Take a look at what can happen. See how it's showing us the pixels of the photo. So if I were to click on a skin tone and I were to just sample from over here near the eye, look at the different colors that we have here. I mean, look how visually different that they appear on screen. Well, when you select point sample, it's going to the exact pixel that you chose, and it's selecting that as a point sample. So what I recommend you do is, instead of point sample, change this to 3x3 average. And inside of Photoshop CS3, you'll see we get a lot more options in here as well. We get 101 by 101, 51 by 51, 31, and that's really to account for the large increase in the resolution of our images now, because there's these 15 and 20 megapixel cameras out there. So that's where the larger ones come in. But for now, just for your basic work, 3x3 will work just fine. And what you can do is now you'll click, and now you don't have to worry about getting maybe that stray piece of noise that might have appeared inside of your image. Now you're getting a sample average of a 3x3 grid that's around that area. So you get a lot more representative color than if you just had it set to point sample. Also, folks, do me a favor, and one of the reasons I'm able to always bring you these tips is because you let me talk about stuff that I do every once in a while. So I know a lot of you are Photoshop users, but I know you either have friends or family that are Elements users, or a lot of you that watch this are Elements users. And just go check out my Elements 5 Restoration and Retouching book, because I talk about things like we just talked about, the eyedropper, for example. Well, you have an eyedropper in Elements, and we use that type of thing to color correct and to fix our photos. So one of the things that I talk about here is very similar to these tips, but there's tutorials on retouching and restoring your book. Half the book is on retouching new photos, and the other half of the book is on restoring old photos. So go check it out on Amazon. It's only 23 bucks. How can you pass it up? Actually, if you were to go to, and I'm not planning this, but I just remembered, if you go to PhotoshopElementsUser.com, if indeed I typed it in right, if you go to PhotoshopElementsUser.com, somewhere on here you'll see the book, I hope. And when you do see the book, wherever it may be, it's on here. When you do see the book, you can order it from this website, and they'll actually send you a signed copy from me. I actually sit down and sign them all. So either way, go order the book. I don't care how, just order it. All right, thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next time.